Hello and welcome back to map building. It's been a while since I recorded one of these. I've had family over and it was a good visit, but now that's done and so I put all this stuff in the... Oh, that's weird. I put all this stuff in a geography folder, and now we're going to make another folder. Civ. There we go. And that's where we put borders and roads and settlements. And we'll put longitude in there too. And then we can collapse that. And now we won't get as confused, because today we are making some language stuff. Not a new Conlang. We did that last time. But rather our map of where the languages are prevalent. So, how we could do this. First of all, we're going to assign each language its own color. And I'm going to give Mamachai a little bit of an orangey type thing going on. And I'm going to use the G pen, yes. And one thing we could do is we could go all the way down to 33%, and then for areas where it's more common, we do it again. However, that runs us into a problem where we have to do it all in one click, and then if we want to add more, we have to be very careful, and you'll end up with a horizon between them, which is either no language or double language, where maybe you don't want it. So I'm actually going to do this. Okay, first of all, on sketch, I am going to select the coastline. Let's just select the continent, actually. Now I'll go to Mamachai, and we can only paint on the land. Okay, good. What I'm going to do, actually, is opacity 100%. Ah! Oh no! Okay, invert. And then we do transparent. And we go onto the color layer, and we make this mistake go away. Map making is a long and laborious process, much of which could be defined as making mistakes go away. 100% opacity, and we color in everywhere that it matters at all. And then we go down to 66% on transparency. And we erase like that. If I want to undo something on here... Okay. Undo all that. We're actually going to do the transparency in stages. Oh, there's more that we missed. Okay. Full transparency and add that in. There. Did I say transparency? I meant opacity. Now we do the transparency. And we decrease the opacity by 33%. That already looks like a lot. We get back on the color, we do 100% again. Downsize the brush. Do the heartland, because when it's at 100%, we can go anywhere with it and it will have exactly the same result. And that's a heartland. and we go back to 33%, put it on opacity, go over the whole thing again, and voila! But I am not satisfied with where some of these edges are, so we are going to take it in on 100% transparency, just a little bit. And each language that we add to the map needs to have its own layer in the languages folder, because there will be overlap. In any of these areas, you will be able to bump randomly into a person for whom Mamachai is a language, at least that they are fluent in. In these darker areas, it is the local dialect. And there are other languages which perhaps are and perhaps are not related to Mamachai, or which are dialects of Mamachai, but they will be overlapping with it. But I'm not currently going to bother with those. Let's just add a couple of little tiny enclaves where it's where Mamachai is not even really a factor, where its reach is not really felt very strongly. Little tiny area in here. And later on, we will add stuff to flesh that out with other languages. I think Mamachai is one of the ugliest languages I have ever created, which, if nothing else, does make it feel organic. That's one language down. We're going to create a new layer, raster layer, and we will call it not Turkish. And we are going to color it in at 100% opacity. And this language has a very far reach. The empire that speaks it primarily is, it's big, but it's not this big. This is the extent where the language is commonly spoken, commonly to be found. I'm going to make the brush smaller and add some more tendrils up this way. Okay, I can do some more after we do the partial transparency. Okay. And even partial makes a huge difference. Let me just stop having this part selected. My original idea for this world was that the older the language you spoke, the more power you were automatically given in most of the societies here. In hindsight, this is ridiculous and probably racist. The idea will leave a ghost. The ghost will continue to exist and to affect the world, but it's kind of a silly idea, honestly. And the fact that Max speaks Latin was going to give him a massive leg up. But that just is not gonna be the direction that we go with this. That's all. Okay, so where is the Heartland? The language is spoken by, surprise, surprise, pastoral herders who probably are densest around the rivers, but are able to eke out a living in these just slightly greenish brown areas of the map. And well, you know what? This might be kind of their ideal sort of habitat here, because it's flatter and greener, so maybe it actually is stronger in these areas. Let's put their heartland right here on the north side of these mountains. And actually, we're going to make them strong along this coast and along here. But also, they are going to be quite strong in the areas where their empire is strongest. And like the fact that there are so few people in the more deserted areas probably means that their language is more likely to be the one native to the areas, and the cradle tongue of more of the inhabitants there. Let's give them a little snakey snake over here. Oh, I thought of another source of inspiration that I forgot to mention for this setting. And that is actually the gore books. Actually, a lot of inspiration came from how disappointing I found those to be. Let's see what this looks like with Mamachai still on here. Yeah, there's those overlaps. And this is telling us what languages can be found. Let's add another new layer. I made it a vector layer. I'm an idiot. New raster layer. Not Swahili. There we go. G-pen? Yeah, there we go. Yes. Much better. I'm just gonna follow the river. And this language may not actually have core territory, because it is at least primarily a trade language. There's a whole bunch of other languages along the river that are not this one, maybe not even connected to it. But as you can see, its influence is quite widespread. And then we go on to transparency and opacity 33%. And make it transparent. Smaller brush. Full transparency. Where the river goes, there is trade. And where there is trade, at least on this part of the continent, you will find this language. People who stan the gore books will tout its philosophy. When I was listening to the audiobooks years ago, I was like, well, there's some interesting storytelling here, but I haven't really got any philosophy from it. In fact, if anything, it seems to have, it just kind of reads like apologia for slavery. In hindsight, yeah. Yes, it does. That's the philosophy that people are toting in it. Like I said, very disappointing. And disappointment is excellent inspiration. I find that type of setting to be really interesting. But the narrator, it really felt like he just was looking back on a time when he had not yet given up on believing in humanity. It just really felt like the writer was trying to argue we should bring back slavery, especially for women. And no matter how interesting the setting might be, the story that I wanted to read in that setting was basically the opposite. These are not the only 3 languages on the continent. As I work on more, those new ones will also start showing up. But for now, this is what we look like. And we have this handy linguistics folder so that our sidebar is not getting too cluttered. And in the grand scheme of things, this is not a horrible start. You know, in my mind's eye, I kind of pictured all 3 of these as green, but as different greens. That would be very confusing. But yes, this is how I do languages, and it's a way that you can if you want to. I found it fun and relaxing to demonstrate, and hopefully you will too. See you later for something else, I guess.